What might you be holding on to? Security, that's a huge one in our culture. I'll do anything so long as it doesn't cost me X. Yes, Lord, kinda, up until this point. He said, take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you. So Abraham rose early in the morning. It's one of my favorite verses in all the Bible. This is inspiration to me. I pray it'll be inspiration to you. Hang on. You're telling me to sacrifice my son. See, it's not just calling you to obedience, it's calling to a heart that wants to obey. I can't imagine setting the alarm for early on that day. And I thank God that biblically I have an example that's there to remind me, because Abraham wouldn't either, by the way. Remember, we saw him, he was a scoundrel. Outside of the grace and the glory and the power of God in him, he'd be just as bad as anybody else, but this is God working in him. This is faithful obedience given by the grace of God. And so it says he rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him and his son Isaac, and he cut the wood for the burnt offering and arose and went to the place of which God had told him. On the 3rd day, Abraham lifted his eyes and saw the place from afar. Then Abraham said to his young men, stay here with the donkey. I and the boy will go over there and worship. We're going to worship. Hang on, I thought you were told to go sacrifice your son. I thought you were told to change your lifestyle if that's what it takes to tithe. I thought you were told to release your children to God's call on their life, even if it means they go to the Middle East. I thought that you were being called to a faithfully obedient command that is going to rock your world. And Abraham says, you are absolutely correct. And we're going over there to worship. Friends, please hear God. I pray that you are inspired by this. What would otherwise crush you in your own strength can illuminate the glory of God and his grace in a way that I pray becomes personal for you. I and the boy will go over there and worship, and get this, and come again to you. See, he had a promise from God. He had a promise that was going to come through Isaac, and this is what Abraham said. I know I've been called to go and sacrifice him. I know God is good. I know God has made me promises. So let's get to it. Let's go early, because I can't wait to see what God's going to do. I can't wait to see how he's going to do this. You say, well, I think you're being speculative. No, because he tells these guys, we're going up. We're going to worship. And then we're coming back. Friends, I ask you, do you have a faith and a confidence in God that if he calls you to the impossible, you know it is possible? Not because you've found a way like a mouse through a trap or through a maze, but because you know that God is powerful, he's able, he's good, and what he says will. This is what we see with Abraham. We will come back to you. Amen. Verse 6, and Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. Friends, don't miss this. Can you picture Jesus carrying his cross to Calvary? Imagine now you're Isaac and you're carrying your own wood for the sacrifice. Here again, we're being pointed to Jesus. You read this account without understanding the gospel and you're going to struggle, but I'll tell you what, when you know the gospel of Jesus Christ and how this is so powerfully pointing ahead, I pray that it will inspire you perhaps like no other place in Scripture. We're in Genesis 22. We are way, way early. The promise was given. It was going to be a people promise. We had proof that we saw in Egypt. Here's proof way, way, way ahead of time. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. And Isaac took in his hand the fire and the knife. So they went both of them together. And Isaac said to his father Abraham, my father. And he said, "Here I am, my son." And he said, "Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Maybe you're in a place like Isaac where you've wondered, how in the world is God going to do this? Trust and obey, friends. Trust and obey. Verse 8, Abraham said, "God will provide for himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son." God will provide. If it's a promise of God, it will have the provision of God. Yours and my place is to faithfully obey. God will provide. So they went, both of them together. When they came to the place of which God had told them, Abraham built the altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Friends, a lot of people hear this account or read this account and they picture Isaac like my little boys, Silas or Gideon, 9 or 6 years old. The real account here is we're looking at Isaac, who's probably somewhere between 20 and 35. This is an adult man. And he willfully accepts the binding and the placement on the altar. I again point you to Jesus. Genesis 22, see the gospel. Genesis 22, come to understand the sacrificial atonement process.